Madhuva Kunja Vihare
Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhuva Kunja Vihare
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Gopi Janavalava Gilivada Gopi
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari
Gopi Janavalava Gilivada
Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari
Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravacharya also tell us of Shimad, His Divine Grace Avaya Charananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Jai Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Jai Friends say, go Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda Shilway Gadadha Shivasati Go Bhakta Vrinda Vijaya Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sai Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Ki Jai Sachuram Ki Jai Swami Ki Jai Imonamai Ki Jai Srimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur all glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namaskar Krishna Mastaya Budale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauranga Jani Nivesesha Sunjivadi Paschatyadesh. So, skipping ahead a little bit, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 13th chapter, text 8. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, everybody has it. Na Shishyan Anubhadita Grantan Naiva Vyased Mahuna Vakyam Ubayunjita Naramba Aravet Kvachet Nashishan Anubadnitava Grantan Naiva Vyased Bahun Navyakyam Upayunjita Naramban Narabet Kvachet Nashishan Anubadnita Rantan Haiva Vyased Bahun Navyakyam Upayunjita Naramban Narabet Kvachet Nashishan Anubadnita Rantan Naiva Vyased Bahun Navakyam Upayunjita Ramban Narabet Kvachet. Okay.
Nasishyan Anubadnita Grantan Naiva Vyased Bahun Navakyam Upayunjita Naraban Aravet Kvachet
Nashisyan Anubadnita Grantan Naiva Vyased Bahun Navyakyam Upayunjita क्वचित्
नारम्भानर्भेत् क्वचित्
न शिष्याननुबध्नीत
न शिष्याननुबध्नीत
ग्रन्थान्नैव अभिषेद् बहून्
ग्रन्थान्नैव अभिषेद् बहून्
न व्याख्याम् उपयुञ्जीत
नावाक्यानुपयुञ्जीत
नारम्भान् अरभेत् क्वचित्
नारम्भानर्भेत् क्वचित्
Ladies.
नाशिष्याननुबध्नीत
न शिष्याननुबध्नीत
ग्रन्थान्नैवाभ्यसेत् बहून्
ग्रन्थान्नैव अभ्यसेत् बहून्
न व्याख्यायाम् अपयुञ्जीत
नावाक्यानुपयुञ्जीत
नारम्भान् आरभेत् क्वचित्
नारम्भानर्भेत् क्वचित्
नाशिष्यान् अनुबध्नीत
न शिष्याननुबध्नीत
ग्रन्थान् नैवाभ्यसेत् बहून्
ग्रन्थान्नैव अभ्यसेत् बहून्
न वाक्यम् उपयुञ्जीत
नावाक्यानुपयुञ्जीत
नारम्भान् अर्भत् क्वचित्
नारम्भानर्भेत् क्वचित्
नाशिष्याननुबध्नीत
न शिष्याननुबध्नीत
ग्रन्थानवयसेत् बहून्
ग्रन्थान्नैव अभ्यसेत् बहून्
नावेक्यामुपयुञ्जीत
नावाक्यामुपयुञ्जीत
नारम्भामरभेत् क्वचित्
नारम्भानर्भेत् क्वचित्
Okay. Na Shishyan disciples. Anubadnita. One should induce for material benefit. Granta. Unnecessary literatures. Not. Eva. Certainly. Abhyaset. Should try to understand or cultivate. Bahun. Many. Not. Nor. Vyakyam. Discourses. Upayunjita should make as a means of livelihood. Na nor aramban unnecessary opulences. Arabet should attempt to increase. Kvachit at any time. Okay. A sannyasi must not present allurements of material benefits to gather many disciples, nor should he unnecessarily read many books to give discourses as a means of livelihood. He must never attempt to increase material opulences unnecessarily. You can repeat. A sannyasi must not present allurements of material benefits to gather many disciples, nor should he unnecessarily read many books, or give discourses as a means of livelihood. He must never attempt to increase material opulences unnecessarily. So purport, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So-called swamis and yogis generally make disciples by alluring them with material benefits. There are many so-called gurus who attract disciples by promising to cure their diseases or increase their material opulence by manufacturing gold. These are lucrative allurements for unintelligent men. A sannyasi is prohibited from making disciples through such material allurements. Sannyasis sometimes indulge in material opulence by unnecessarily constructing many temples and monasteries. But actually, such endeavors should be avoided. Temples and monasteries should be constructed for the preaching of spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness, not to provide free hotels for persons who are useful for neither material nor spiritual purposes. Temples and monasteries should be strictly off limits to worthless clubs of crazy men. In the Krishna conscious movement, we welcome everyone who agrees at least to follow the movement's regulated principles: no illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, and no gambling. In the temples and monasteries, gatherings of unnecessary, rejected, lazy fellows should be strictly disallowed. The temples and monasteries should be used exclusively by devotees who are serious about spiritual advancement and Krishna consciousness. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the word aramba as meaning matari vyaparan, which means attempts to construct temples and monasteries. The first business of the sannyasi is to preach Krishna consciousness, but if by the grace of Krishna facilities are available, then he may construct temples and monasteries to give shelter to the serious students of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, such temples and monasteries are not needed. Verse. So, again, the verse. Nashashananabad Nita Grantam Naiva Yased Bahum Na Vyakyam Upayunjita Naramban Aravet. That's it. So Omagana Timrandasha Chakshu Meditan Chasmai Shigavay Maha. So this is an interesting verse. Of course, this particular section of the Bhagavatam is dealing with rules for sannyasis. And actually, you could take this as a rule for anybody who's leading up the Krishna conscious movement or preaching Krishna consciousness. Sometimes there's a lot of enthusiasm for constructing temples and doing different things like that. And basically, that's not really the purpose of the Krishna conscious movement. As we've talked about many times before, that the Krishna conscious movement has a mission statement, and also it has strategic mission statement, which are two different things. And sometimes people confuse the two. So I'll explain what I mean for those of you who don't study trying to develop things. Okay. So mission statement is what? Mission statement is what is the whole purpose of the Krishna conscious movement? Does anyone know? Yes. More devotees, happier devotees, which means devotees who have deeper Krishna consciousness. That's the whole mission statement. Sometimes people cite, Prabhupada's 7 purposes as the mission statement. That's not the mission statement. That's called the strategic mission statement. That's the strategies that you employ to accomplish the purpose. So they confuse the two. They think opening up farms, building temples is actually the mission of the Krishna conscious movement. And when they start to do things unnecessarily, as Srila Prabhupada said here, then they engage in something called prayasas. For those of you who don't know what that means, that's from the Nectar of Instruction. What's it? Everybody knows that? Hara prayasascha prajalpani madhad janasangas chaloyam sasabhira bhakti manashanti. So these things actually interfere with our devotional service. Of course, there's collecting too much for one's own. This is mentioned here in this particular verse. You know, so like the sannyasi collecting too much and just using it for his own personal benefit. Atyahara, or eating too much. You know, just like every night here, it's just like, oh my God, my spiritual life is being ruined. So, no, I don't eat that much.
Yeah, frugally. You
But
eat only
eating too much, like if you eat too much, then it turns into lust, it turns into anger, it turns into so many different things. Actually, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would criticize his disciples who weighed too much. He was very heavy with that. So anyway, and generally he had many sannyasi, brahmachari disciples, the primary disciples of his. So, prayasas means over endeavor. So what does over endeavor mean? And that principle of over endeavor can be applied in one's regular life or sannyas life or grahastha life or any type of ashram, which means that you're doing something so much you lose your composure and your sadhana goes to hell. That's over endeavor. Because you have to prioritize your life. We were talking to some devotees about this yesterday. You know, they say, I have so many things to do, so many places to go. I said, what's your first priority? And of course, the children were their first priority. But Prabhupada, interestingly enough, he said your first priority should be your health. That's interesting. You know, I would always think, you know, first priority should be your sadhana. But Prabhupada said the health because he understood what Bhaktivinoda Thakur taught, that without, in his Chaitanya Shikshamrita, that without taking care of your basic needs, you're not going to be able to continue in Krishna consciousness. You know, you don't get enough food. If you're very sick, you won't be able to perform service for Krishna or even chant nicely. Your mind will be too disturbed. You won't be able to focus. So basically, one has to prioritize. And sometimes you have to sacrifice things of a lower priority. You know, just like we were talking to someone about yesterday about getting a bigger house. Okay. So they really want a bigger house. Okay. And they said, you know, we have to work so hard and have a bigger house. We really need a bigger house. One child. Anyway, so anyway, for many reasons, whatever, I'm not finding fault. And they said, you know, if we work real hard, we'll have to work several jobs, day duty, night duty. We have a little kid, you know, but you know, the kid could be neglected. They didn't say that. I said, you have to understand what your first priority is. First priority is taking care of your children. Because you only get one opportunity for that. And when they're grown up, finished, you don't get any more opportunities. So I explained that. Prabhupada actually said at one point, the duty of a mother is baby worship rather than puja at the temple. And sometimes they encourage you to do puja at the temple and drop your babies off, you know, lock them in the closet or something like that, with a bottle so that they'll survive for the day with a supply of diapers. Anyway, so the point is that one has to really prioritize things. And here, of course, the discussion is spiritual life, so the priority is whatever strategy works as far as making more devotees, and happier devotees are devotees with deeper Krishna consciousness. That's what one should accept. It's not that temples are prohibited, or as Prabhupada says here, monasteries are prohibited. But, you know, utility is the principle. Yukta Vairagya, whatever works, whatever strategy works, isn't it? That's what we employ. So a sannyasi should see like that, or a preacher should see like that. Whatever strategy will be able to work to bring people to Krishna consciousness. It may be building temples. However, when a sannyasi or someone builds a temple, they should not be the ones who are, let's say, all the financial pressure is on, and they have to run all around the world to all their disciples. You've seen it, isn't it? And say, you know, you got to mortgage your house, my dear disciple. I've seen that happen. And, could you give more? This is ridiculous. The sannyasi should not beg for money. Sannyasi accepts things and then engages in Krishna's service. And then, of course, as Prabhupada mentions here, when he does build a temple, he has to be careful that that temple is not utilized for lazy or crazy people. We had a lot of experience with that. With devotees, sometimes they move in the temple because they just don't, they're just functional. They don't have anything else to do in their lives. I had a recent experience. Actually, it's one of my disciples, quote. So what happened is that he moved in the temple and he wasn't getting up for the morning program. So what I do, because I'm not so good at managing people, I get really heavy. Everybody thinks I'm kind in general and everything like that. No, there's a whole, that's why I don't manage directly, because I get super heavy. So, anyway, so I started to go into the brahmachari ashram and wake everybody up. Early in the morning. Not at 2:30 like I get up. But I was, wake up! When I was a temple commander, I would actually drag people out of their sleeping bags and throw them in the shower. This is why you don't want to put me in a management position, because it's a little dangerous for your spiritual lives. I'm good preaching, but the other things keep me away from this. It's like I become a little monster at that point. So anyway, so I was waking them up, and they got so upset. This one devotee got so upset with me, he started to lock the ashram door so I couldn't get in anymore. To wake him up. And then he was out as fast as I could get him out of the temple. So this is really important that temples have to be seen as places of spiritual enlivenment. And so a sannyasi could build a temple without over-endeavor, without losing his preaching status. And a sannyasi has to make sure that temple is functioning properly. Srila Prabhupada, he built so many temples, or actually a few temples in India, and he was very enthusiastic, and he was applying pressure. Actually, he was applying pressure on his disciples to collect money. He had, several groups of devotees collecting money, and also he took money out of his book fund to build the temples in Vrindavan, Mayapur, and in Mumbai, those 3 temples. And Prabhupada spent so much effort. You may say that's over-endeavor. With Prabhupada, it wasn't over-endeavor, because Prabhupada had a vision. He had so much, he endeavored so much to acquire that property in Mumbai, or Bombay as it used to be called, that, the whole history there is quite interesting. There was a Mr. Nair who wanted to cheat Prabhupada and the devotees and sell the property at a very, very low price. And what happened is he had no intention of giving them the property, because he had previously sold the property to other people and taken back the property. So what happened is it became so heavy for the devotees, they actually signed over the contract back to Mr. Nair. And when Prabhupada heard that, he got so upset, he hung his phone up like that, came back, and actually employed trickery to get Mr. Nair to agree to sell again. What was his trickery? A very interesting story. That Prabhupada said, I want to meet you, Mr. Nair. Okay. So Mr. Nair came at this particular juncture with his guru, because he wanted his guru to protect him from Prabhupada. Because he understood Prabhupada loved with hypnotizing, mystic yoga, or whatever. And, all right, so he and his guru were meeting with Prabhupada. No talk about the temple at all. They were just talking small talk, eating dinner together. And then Prabhupada very strategically yawned.
Yeah.
And when he yawned, that's sort of contagious.
Yes.
They started yawning, and they said to Prabhupada, you look tired, Swamiji. He said, right. And Prabhupada said, yeah, you're right, I'm tired. You never hear Prabhupada say that. That was something Prabhupada never said, I'm tired. Whenever there was something to do, he was never tired. He was always on the ball. So what happened is Mr. Nair and his guru went into a room to go to sleep, and Prabhupada told devotee Mr. Malkrishna, open the door, look in the room carefully to see if they're asleep. And if the guru is asleep, especially the guru, wake Mr. Nair up and quietly bring him in without waking the guru up. So Mr. Nair gets up, and of course, as many people are, he's in a stupor when he wakes up. After you've woken up. You can't figure out, which room is which room, anyway. So he wakes up, and Prabhupada sits him down and gets him to sign the contract again. And Prabhupada, it's a really amazing story. And Prabhupada pushed the devotees to develop a project there, so much so that the devotees were living on the land. And there were rats crawling on them at night. I talk about endeavor. And these Mumbai rats are not just like little cute little mice, field mice. They were like this size. Anyone seen them? I mean, they were, woo! And the rats would sometimes bite the devotees' toes as they were sleeping. They gave the devotees a pedicure. So anyway, so one time Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, to Srila Prabhupada that, we're from the West, we need rooms with doors and everything like that. And Prabhupada just said, don't you want to get purified? So Prabhupada really did push, but it wasn't over endeavor. And then they installed Prabhupada, even before there was a temple, he installed the deities there. Radha Rasa Bihari. He installed them in just like a shed. And the devotees were worshiping the deities. And later on, even after Mr. Nair passed away, then there was an attack, Mr. Nair's wife, Mrs. Nair, arranged an attack to tear apart, from the government actually, because she had contacts with the government, to tear apart the shed. And the devotees, they were just trying to interfere, and ladies were dragged off by the police. And, Prabhupada was steadfast in his determination to build a temple. And actually, this attack by the government like that helped the devotees. It won the support and sympathy of everybody in Mumbai. And then they probably had them rebuild that small temple, the shed or whatever it was. And during the weekend, before that she could go back to the court and get an order from the municipal government to stop construction, they rebuilt it all over the weekend. And so there's nothing they could do. Because once you have a temple in India, you're not supposed to touch it or tear it down or go near it. That was a strategy that Prabhupada employed. You put deities there, and then it's sacrosanct. In other words, it's sacred. And Haribol. And so, in other words, Prabhupada, there was a lot of endeavor. Vrindavan temple too, a lot of endeavor. Mayapur temple, they were attacked by the Muslims, local Muslims. I was there for one of those attacks. We had to have a siren to alert us that the Muslims were coming, and they all had these big cane knives, or the science section had cane knives, big knife, and it was interesting. we had to lock the doors of the building, the main building that Prabhupada had constructed, and everybody, we were up on the roof, and some of the, I think it was some of the sannyasis, I think they're gonna kill us. Yeah, they were very fearful of the whole thing. But Prabhupada pushed ahead, and even Prabhupada understood. They read at one point they attacked, and the devotees had to use guns, and the devotees who used guns actually had to go to jail because they had used guns. And one devotee, my dear godbrother Bhakti Raghava Maharaj, had his leg blown off when that happened. I mean, so much opposition. And Prabhupada said, actually, they were coming there to arrest him because there was so much opposition, because Bengal is primarily, Muslim state. Muslim, two things, Muslim communist state. So much opposition. But Prabhupada just persisted, the devotees persisted because of Prabhupada's insistence. And now we have the Mayapur done. Very nicely developed. And we're recognized as a tourist place in West Bengal. So you see, Prabhupada had a lot of determination to build temples and expand the movement in that particular way. But he had a strategy. It was for devotees, making devotees, helping devotees deepen their Krishna consciousness. That was his strategy. It wasn't just building temples for his own prestige. He understood he could do it. And he understood it would be strategic. And it has been. Vrindavan temples, one of the most popular temples in Vrindavan today are Krishna Balaram Mandir. And of course, there's other temples that are popular for a variety of reasons, like the Banka Bihari temple, where they made up this story that Banka Bihari, the deities run away sometimes just to attract people. Or there's other temples. But our temple is the most vibrant temple in the Vrindavan area. So anyway, Prabhupada had this strategy, but it wasn't based on his ego. So sannyasi has to be very careful about this, and also that careful about collecting too many disciples. We see this, it has happened in ISKCON sometimes, there's canvassing for disciples. A particular sannyasi may instruct his disciples to canvass in different ways. We don't want that canvassing because we're all one team working under His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. It's Srila Prabhupada's mission, and people should put aside their partisan or political interest to serve His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Anyway, so these are instructions for sannyasis. Any questions about these points? Questions, comments? I'm a little early. Yes.
Nobody has questions. Gurudev, regarding over endeavoring,
Yeah.
you have nicely said, and quoting Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that health comes first.
Yeah.
And then, as long as you nicely mentioned, as long as like our sadhana bhakti is not impaired, we can
endeavor.
right? And also then
That's on an individual basis. Yeah.
exactly, yeah, probably. Yeah, 'cause
We have to
some-
be careful. I mean, one time, I'll tell you what, the personal experience I had over endeavoring was that many, many years ago, I purchased a hotel on Miami Beach. Some of you have heard that story before. For the movement. Not so I could open a gambling casino or anything like that. I thought, we were selling one property and we had a substantial amount for it. And I thought, this would be great, have a hotel in Miami Beach. And it wasn't a bad idea per se, but what I purchased was too big. The other hotels were actually, so many of them were smaller. Yeah, but this hotel had over 100 rooms. Pretty good, isn't it? 100-room hotel. So what we discovered, we purchased it for the movement, and of course there was a heavy mortgage on it too. Really heavy mortgage. So then I became with so much anxiety. My sadhana didn't suffer, but my health suffered. That all I could do was drink milk. you know, for the ulcer. I had ulcers at that time. You know, young man, you know, 28, 29 years old with ulcers. And then just managing the thing. And then we started to have lazy, crazy people living there. You know, sometimes through the air conditioner system, we would smell marijuana smoke. So we had that anxiety. And then things started to break down, like the lift broke down. We had 2 lifts, and one of them broke down. Then the other one broke down. And then the only way we could use the lift, this is crazy, the electronics didn't work, so we had to station someone on the roof where the motor was. You know, to manually connect the wires or something. And then have to yell for... I had to yell from the bottom floor, okay, take us up 1 floor. Well, okay, we're at the 2nd floor. Sometimes it didn't exactly match one floor to another. This is definitely over in Denver. So the whole time, oh my, it was complete anxiety. Oh my God, you know. And anyway, there were other factors too, you know, that were very, very challenging in regard to that. I mean, in one sense, we were having a lot of success from one perspective. We had a restaurant on the bottom floor, and we had people lined up for several blocks to take prashadam at the restaurant. And the devotee waitresses, they were all devotees, were actually getting, at that time, each waitress got tips over $100 a night, which is a lot. You know, nowadays it's like $300. Plus, you know, whatever salary they got. And people were coming and taking prashadam. But at the same time, it was all like on my shoulders. You know, all the management and everything. And basically, at one point we had to send all the devotees out as Santa Clauses to make money to pay the mortgage. So I was just like dying at the ripe old age of 29. So I learned a lot from that experience. Ultimately, they did, you know, after I wasn't there, they sold the hotel, already sold the hotel, and opened up a nice temple in a very nice area of the city, which is called Coconut Grove in Miami Beach. But anyway, you probably never heard of such a place like that, where there's a lot of young people for preaching. So ultimately, it turned out well. So to me, that was my experience with Over Endeavor. So nowadays, before I do anything, I know strategic planning. And so I think about it. Am I going to be able to maintain my health? Am I going to be able to maintain my sadhana, my preaching? Because the preaching comes first to me. And then, yeah, that's fine. I mean, we're building a temple in North Carolina, but you never hear me talking about or asking anybody for money for it. Because the congregation is building it. You know, the money is coming. It's coming without asking anybody. Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? No pressure. And then, you know, for our fundraising, I said there's none of these false promises, like if you buy a brick in the temple, you go back to God. And then I said, our approach is, we're giving you an opportunity to participate. And if you don't want, that's fine. And if you do want, it's fine. And the atmosphere is really sweet based on that basis. You're getting an opportunity. You know, we get some blessings from Krishna. You're not going to go back to God unless you love Krishna. But you know, and you could sponsor different items. And you know, people, even when I first built the temple, the first temple I built in North Carolina, I never endeavored to get any money for it. I just went to one of my friends and showed him the model that I, you know, because I have some architectural skills. So I designed the temple and built a scale model and showed it to him, and he plucked down $10,000. And he sent me to my other friend, and he gave $10,000, and they said, whatever you need, we'll pay. And that was a lot of money in those days, $10,000. You know, it was 1982. And so I learned in Miami the hard way. So I'm advising all of you not to learn the hard way. An intelligent person learns by hearing. And I wasn't so intelligent. I learned by doing and getting kicked by Krishna. Krishna really kicked me because if I look at it, this whole endeavor maybe had some mixed motive, you know, in the beginning, getting this big hotel, you know, prominence, and actually we actually even had some GBC meetings there, but that's another story, which was interesting. How, and that was the time of the 11 gurus in ISKCON, and each and every guru had to have his own Vyasa-san and own Pujari and own Guru Puja simultaneously in the temple room.
In ISKCON, Guru.
What?
In ISKCON.
Oh yeah, this is the history of ISKCON, you know, ISKCON history. After Prabhupada left, there were 11 people who took position to the Guru, but they bit off more than they can chew. That's also endeavor. And many of them were canvassing for disciples. They had zones, you know, if you're in my zone, you got to take initiation from me, or else you get the hell out of my zone. If I wanted to go into someone else's area, this happened to me, and preach, they would call me, "Why you in my zone?" even if it was in the United States.
Oh my God.
You know, I remember going, I'm not going to mention because you any names, but I went to someone else's zone in the United States, and I said, "Did you get permission to come into the state?" I said, I don't need a visa to go to another state. It's like if you go to Queensland, and someone calls you and says, "You came to Queensland from New South Wales. Who gave you permission to cross the border?" Yeah, it was like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, talking about over endeavor. You know, people collect on our disciples, and then it got to the point. Wow, I didn't want to talk about this, but I guess we're going there. But anyway, so came to the point. There's so much opulence. I can talk about this. I went to Italy once after the Guru had some trouble, and I stayed in the Guru's private quarters there. And he had a chandelier that was worth $50,000.
Oh my God.
And then I go into the bathroom. You know, you gotta use a bathroom. And it was more beautiful than any deity room in ISKCON. You know, gold handles on the toilet, you know, pure gold. On the toilet, and you know, basically marble walls in the shower. I said, "Oh my God, am I in the deity room or am I in the toilet?" You know? So people had started to acquire so much opulence. And these people fell down. I hate to say it, but you know, they fell down. So it's a practical example. You know, over-endeavored. I over-endeavored, you know, I didn't fall down, but I realized I was over-endeavored. So now I take precautions. Before I do anything, I follow Prabhupada's direction. Prabhupada's direction, before you do anything, you gotta make sure you have manpower, you gotta make sure you have land, you gotta make sure you have money and management. 4 things. And you don't go make an endeavor until you have those 4 things. You understand? Of course, if you have a lot of money, you can make anything. Do anything. If you're Elon Musk, you can open a temple anywhere you want. And it's not over endeavor. Just think about it. So oftentimes, people still do that in ISKCON. They engage in some endeavor without having those 4 things in place.
Gurudev, it was money, manpower, management, and what is it?
Land.
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 Oh.
Land.
L-A-N-D or L-A-N-D?
Land.
Land. L-A-N-D. You know, land, the place.
Oh, only for building.
Yeah, for building. Yeah, land. Land. Building, like that. Before building a temple. I mean, obviously you can rent a place and whatever, do programs and rent a place. But before building a temple or doing any monastery or any sort of project like that, you require land. Simple as that. So basically, that's what I learned. And I also learned that the point in having disciples is for their benefit, not my benefit. the guru, I learned the hard way that my position is for the benefit of the disciples, not for my benefit. You understand? So therefore, when someone gives me 100 preparations, I honor it for their benefit. Even though I would rather take my Vitamix and throw all the vegetables in it and drink the dinner. Yeah, it's true. If anyone's seen my videos, it's exactly like that. My cooking videos. So really, you have to understand you're a servant. And you don't do anything for your false ego, whether it's building a temple, my temple, or even, I always tell that story about the person who sponsored the singhasan in the temple. He wanted his name in the front of the singhasan.
That's what they do.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, of course we encourage people. We have a plaque in the temple, so-and-so donated so much. It encourages people. But that shouldn't be the motivation. The motivation, what I experience is the people who really help with the temple construction, as far as money is concerned, they want their name to be anonymous. That's been my experience with people donating to a temple. The main donors we've had, I can't tell you their names, and they say, I don't want anyone to know my name. Of course, that's also because other people go to them and know that they have money. So, really, whatever we do for Krishna has to be done with, that's the main point, without personal motive. Whether it's a financial motive, whether it's you want people to worship you, or whether you want to have your project, your possession, it's not your possession. Everything belongs to Krishna and under the direction of his divine grace of the Prabhupada. And that's really the point about sannyasis. If they do these things, they understand they're not the proprietor.
Yep.
They're meant to be the servant. So whether it's disciples or whether it's temples, you're meant to be the servant of that particular endeavor, rather than the proprietor. All right, so
Personally,
continue.
I've been thinking about past several years that how I'm over endeavoring. I always think about it. Am I over endeavoring? Because I have I said 2 temples, and I'm always on go. And a lot of things I'm doing, I'm thinking is mechanically because it has to be done. But also I'm doing out of gratitude, and also it has to be done.
You have so much passionate energy. There's no question of you over endeavoring.
And also
Plus, you're able to hold a job while going to Bhagavatam class.
Yeah. and I've been doing that
She's
for
working
many
right now.
years. And
She has her work on the phone right now.
And previously for many years I always have a job before COVID and all that, and I have temples to do, but never has been a time that I left my temple service.
That's good.
Even if I'm sick, but the thing is that when I'm doing my service, I'm not sick. And I might be.
If you're so sick by doing your service,
oh no, not that one.
that it will harm you.
Yeah.
It will harm you permanently or long term.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
And I also wanted to tell you another thing good that I was actually thinking now is I am never tired of service or anything. Of say what brings my health down is either the politics or falsity, dishonesty, and all of that. This is my experience because I've always been thinking about over endeavoring, and I'm thinking, is it the amount of service that I'm doing?
No,
or is something
it's
that
whether your
is-
spiritual life gets disturbed by it.
Yeah, it actually
Whether you don't have time to hear and chant and read.
Yeah. And that, because that's my best of the things, to read.
She's
and
on
to chant.
hyperdrive, isn't she?
So that I have to find time, and that's when I say I'm over endeavoring if I cannot do my reading or my chant nicely. But I have strategic planning, as you say, right? So I always do it in the morning.
How do you
find
get your
time.
energy?
No, I don't have energy. Like yesterday you were saying it comes from bhakti, but I don't have enough bhakti or something.
All right.
I was thinking about
I'm already tired listening to you.
Depressed.
Actually, the guy did this a lot of times, do that.
Do you have a different speed or? I can get away with teasing her. So.
Inject the.
All right, now I understand. You take care of your health long term. Sometimes we have to push through. I experience that too. Sometimes I'm not feeling well, and I know it's not going to hurt me, so I just push through.
But I know my limits.
Yeah. So that, just like I set up my schedule. Haribol, thank you for coming. Have a nice day at work. So, just like I set up my schedule now, in terms of keeping my health together long term. And people say, why don't you do this in the morning? Why don't you do that in the morning? I just have to be practical. Prabhupada was practical. He spent an hour or two getting a massage a day. I don't do that. I have devices that do massage. They're better than people. I have hair dryers that dry my feet, all. Seriously. So anyway, I'm very careful now as I get older, just to really concentrate on my health so I can keep going longer, like a rabbit in the hair type of thing. So, you're fine. That's up to your judgment, whether you're over endeavored. But if you find your spiritual life going down, you're not getting rounds done, you're leaving rounds over for the next day, you're not able to read, you're feeling discouraged, then you need to make some adjustments at that point.
Sometimes I take time out, but then because I mentor a lot of devotees to counseling and all that, then I have a problem. I never say no as well. That's my biggest problem.
So you have to learn how to say that. All of us have to learn how to say no. I have to do that all the time. People say, "Gurudev, could you do this? Could you do this?" And I just say no.
But it is offense to say no?
No. I mean, if you don't say no, people are going to abuse you. You have to protect yourself first. The first point is to protect yourself. Then you can serve others. You don't want to be a martyr in Krishna consciousness. We don't have martyrs. He sacrificed himself to his disciples. Gurudev died for our sins. Anyway, that's over and done. Who else has a question? Yeah.
Can I ask one question? Like, if it is possible for you to tell us what is your daily schedule? Just wanted to go over there.
If normally when I'm not, Navadvip is not driving me crazy, then I'm just joking. Normally, here, like I have a certain schedule, okay. But when I'm back at my temple in North Carolina, daily schedule, well, I go to sleep by 7:30 at night, wake up by 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Get all my rounds done, and deity worship. I do my deity worship in the morning, my Sheilas are there. Do all that before Mangal Arti.
So 16 rounds are done before Mangala?
Usually about 13 to 14. Okay. Yeah, not all 16, because I'm not that fast in chanting. But, if I follow the schedule, I can usually chant very attentive 5-minute rounds, which is what Prabhupada did. Prabhupada chanted 5-minute rounds.
So you take bath by 2:30?
Yeah, well, what happens, if you really want to know my schedule, like, I follow what Prabhupada did, that for my health, when I just get up, of course, then I brush my teeth, wash my hands, wash my face, then I'll chant right then, because, anyway, for my digestion, I need to wait a while, I drink, well, you want me to get into the whole thing? I drink at least,
on a high level.
I drink, well, you want to see that, it's just open knowledge. I drink at least a half a liter of water. And then that's part of Ayurveda anyway. And then it may take 15 minutes, 20 minutes to flush the system out. Then I go and take a shower. But in the meantime, I'm chanting. So as soon as I take the shower, wash up and everything, then I do my deity worship. I have Giri Raj, I do my deity worship. And offering is done later. So then I'm outside walking and chanting. Usually on our temple property, we have a large temple. But here I do outside in the park, which is nice. and with birds and everything like that, feeding them bread this morning. All the Ibisus got their mercy this morning. Anyway, so then this is my schedule in North Carolina. So then Mangalarti, I'm there 4:30 for Mangalarti. And actually, right before Mangalarti, I circumambulate the temple 3 times every morning. Made promise to circumambulate the temple 3 times. So, and then we go to Mangalarti and, whatever, at the beginning of the morning program. After that, there's a break when everyone else is chanting japa and not me. So I go back and do the bhoga offering for my deities at that particular point. And get ready, and then come back in the temple. And then we have the Guru Puja and everything like that, and class. And I get back and go to class or give class, because I don't give class every morning there, because we have a lot of devotees. And then greet the deities, have a nice kirtan with a guitar, and then take prasadam by 7:45 in the morning. We have a short morning program. The reason we have a short morning program, we have everything, but japa is only 1 hour because we got people who work on the outside. So we want to facilitate, and the morning program is broadcast too. So we want to facilitate our congregation coming in the morning, which they do. And the congregation does a lot of the deity worship. A lot of ladies come in and dress the deities in the morning and everything like that, and make the flower garlands, cook. I mean, some mornings we have at the temple. I don't eat it. There's an absolute feast. The South Indian devotees come. They have idlis and doshas for breakfast, and coconut chutney. Sounds good, doesn't it? They're all invited to come. Maybe you can get H-1B visas. Anyway, so talk to Trump. So anyway, so then it's just typical day, and then. So anyway, I take prasadam after the morning program, and after that, just go to work. Have work, correspondence, and dealing with devotees. And now we have 2 building projects to take care of. Actually 3, because we have one in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we're just developing it. And then devotees all over the United States. We may have some conferences during the day, Zoom conferences during the day. And then at roughly 3 o'clock, I mean, all sorts of things. I go out and do, I drive too, or my car drives, not me. So, and then I go out, and so it's at about 3. I mean, once in a while I'll go to someone's house for the evening meal, but usually what I'll do. This is the weekdays we're talking about, not the weekend. So what I'll do is take my Vitamix and rip apart the vegetables and throw them in there, no knife. And just, tomatoes, broccoli, peas, and just throw it all in there and blend it up until it's cooking. And that's but I have sauerkraut too, at the same time, sauerkraut and avocados and some other salad items. And then the whole meal takes me about 10 minutes to prepare. What?
And drink it.
Drink it? No, I take my time. There's an avocado salad, with different things, some there's artichokes, whatever. It's not completely all stew. And so then I do that, and throughout the day talking to devotees, and then in the evening, what do I do in the evening? In the evening maybe some reading, going out to the temple, seeing what's happening in the temple, just doing more service for Krishna, various types of service, and then reading, and by the end, then the day's over by 7:30. Okay, then sometimes devotees come over at darshan. Yeah, they do. And then devotees come over to clean too, because that's one thing I'm not good at.
Do you chant before sleeping?
I don't necessarily chant. I got my rounds done, so usually You know, sometimes listen to kirtans. Those are nice, but not too enthusiastic kirtans because you can't go to sleep.
But the purpose of asking this was a lot of when like a lot of my friends who are not initiated and they are associating with us. So when they start, oh, I have to take bath and do chanting. I have to do this and that. But then I'm seeing your examples. So just to understand how our Gurudev is, it's good to understand the mood of our Gurudev, so that disciples are like get the abha or get the energy of the Gurudev.
Well, I'm extremely regulated. Not obsessive compulsive about it. But, people can actually tell the time of the day by what I'm doing. You read about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was like that too. Probably to a large extent, but he was traveling more preaching. When I'm traveling and preaching, it's a different thing. But even here, I'm regulated. I'll go, like last night, we were doing this program, and I said, that's it, we're going. And of course, we could have stayed long, and devotees could have asked more questions, and whatever. I said, that's it, finished. And in the morning, like after I take prasadam, that's my time. I got emails, I got things to do.
And you catch up on the internet and everything. I mean, you're still using devices and catching up on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been device here. Broadcasting thing, broadcasting.
We are telling kids to be less on the device and just.
No, I'm not that much on devices, but I use them for Krishna. Also, I'm studying AI now to use it to propagate Krishna consciousness. I study things about biology and cosmology to be able to help present Krishna consciousness in terms of life comes from life. I mean, everything's planned. So I have all these other interests too. Whenever I have a spare moment to do, and then I have some play the guitar, and I fly a drone. Some hobbies on the side. And then I go to Govardhan. And we have our own schedule, a different schedule with Govardhan. Yeah, there our morning walk starts. What time is it? 6:30, 6 o'clock, isn't it? Sunrise. We all go out. I drag everybody out. I mean, extremely regulated. Like, nobody people tell you. Like, when we took a group to South India, and I had to wake everyone up in the morning, isn't it?
Yep.
The people stayed in hotels. We went to hotel rooms with people. But I was the tour guide. Even the bus driver didn't know where we were going. So I had to tell the bus driver where to, this India. Yeah, and India, and I knew, just an old map. We didn't have GPS.
No GPS.
You had this old Rand McNally map.
Yep.
And I just told him, turn left here. I think you were with me the one time he went the wrong way on the motorway.
Yeah, we
In
got
South
against
India.
the traffic. That was the first time.
He actually turned
This is
you're
a
going to
highway.
opposing traffic on
Yeah,
the
they
motorway.
do that.
But that's India. I was, oh my God.
They do that.
So basically, devotees were sleeping in their rooms, and I said, if you're not ready, the bus is leaving without you. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So that's why I said, definitely don't want me in charge of anything. It was like, because I get into this mood of babysitting, and I have to take care of devotees. And it's, I want to care for them. I want to make sure they get enough prasadam, but still, it's really, I try to regulate people the same way I'm regulated, and it burns people out. So I don't think anyone got burnt out in that
No.
trip. They all had a really good
I
time.
learned that Gurudev is very punctual.
Yeah, very punctual. We're leaving at 6.
That means 5:55 you are there.
Yeah. Get on the bus. I don't care if you're in your pajamas. You're going on the bus. And then, the funny thing is sometimes you're taking these buses and some devotee sees something they want to buy, stop the bus, or they have to go to the bathroom. And there's no private bathrooms in the road. Rest stop. So I said the women go to the left side, the men go to the right side.
How you tolerated all that?
It was interesting. And then we had to do a head count. You know, it was like this.
You guys don't want to.
We nearly lost two, remember that?
Yeah. Everybody had a number. 1, 2, 3, 4. It was like summer camp for adults, you know.
Good cup.
It was fun, wasn't it? You had a lot of fun.
Lot of fun.
Yeah, there were problems. I mean, someone got injured in the ocean in Jagannathpuri, in Champaga. And then, fortunately, we had a doctor with
We
us.
had a doctor.
We had a doctor. The doctor took care of her injuries. You know, all sorts of things happened, but we had such a great time. We went all the way from Mayapur all the way south,
Wow.
stopping in all these really nice places that you couldn't go to ordinarily. We stayed the night at the Shirachura Gopinath temple in Ramuna, and had our own Mangal Arti there with the Shirachura Gopinath. Everybody had this little thing of kheer. Oh yeah, it was actually pretty wonderful. We go to, Tirupati, actually they just built a new temple when we got there. And I'm singing the guitar on stage in Tirupati. Yeah.
Can we do it again, Guruji?
The whole show.
You better find someone to manage it, not me, because
We manage our own selves.
no. It doesn't work. Like I said, if you put me in charge of something, I have to run it like under my.
Master.
That's why it's better I'm just here, a nice, sweet guy. When I move into my own area, I become a monster. So here, just easy, kind, he's tolerant. Just like at work, you got to be someone different, isn't it? You're homey with your family, but at work. So, that's my work. And so if I take on that mood, guiding a bus, then it's like that. It was fun, and it was spontaneous. We didn't know where we were going to stay each night. It wasn't like a pre-planned hotel room or anything like that. Remember?
The front and end went, but the middle was like, we hope to get something. If not, it was just
Keep driving and
keep
keep
your
the bus.
moving up. We basically slept on mats.
Yeah.
Shed.
With the rats. The rats is big, yeah. Anyway, I did that trip 2 times. That wasn't the only time I did it. But
2008.
I think it was earlier than 2008.
No, I remember because I moved here 2005, 2007.
Was that the trip that Nityananda was with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the videos for it with me. If anyone wants to see them sometimes.
Yeah.
But I have to get my computer. There's a new computer coming for me, and it broke down. My old one broke down. So when it comes, maybe I can just put it together so you can show the movies.
Oh, that would be nice.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, all the way South India, Kanchipuram. Remember Kanchipuram and the
He
saris?
took us, so Gurudev took us to a sari shop where he organized that the sari shop closed. Just like us, just the devotees.
Oh,
Yeah, just turn the women loose in the sari shop.
We were like, all men were outside waiting for the women to come.
Well, I went back to the
Yeah,
hotel.
you went back. I couldn't go into
And
that.
then the women finally came back.
wow.
Midnight or
I was
something.
so like, come on, let's go. How?
They were, they pulled these are the most beautiful saris imaginable. But the devotees brought a whole bunch of saris for my deities too,
Then we got together and got that.
which is really nice. So they were dragging, all the saris were opened up on the floor of the
They
store.
all look the same after a while.
And it was just like, oh my God, these ladies are crazy. But ladies in saris and
Father the Buddha has realized. We are suffering every single day, Gurudev.
I know, especially when you have to go shopping with them.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's my schedule, and it's it just keeps the mind regulated, and it takes you off the mental platform, and I get a lot more done. When you actually have a schedule, priorities, you get a hell of a lot done. Like Prabhupada, how did he publish, print, or translate his books? Because every day he was up at 1 o'clock in the morning, no matter what time he took rest. And he was going gradually. It's not that he just like did it on marathon and did everything in 2 months or something like that. Every day was like a little bit translation, a little bit translation. And then in that period of time, he did the whole Bhagavatam, he did the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion. I mean, all these books were done by Prabhupada because he was so regulated like that. Regardless, there's no, Prabhupada never talked about jet lag. Wherever he went, that was it. He stuck to the same schedule according to their time zone. Every morning he'd take a morning walk. He'd come back exactly at the time of greeting the deities. It didn't delay the time of, the darshan time. He came back exactly at the time. Because I've been on morning walks with Prabhupada. Everything's timed perfectly. Los Angeles, went on morning walks, Mayapur morning walks. Everything's just like precise. His classes, of course I just violated one of the principles. His classes were only 30, 35 minutes. General, there might have been an exception or two. Okay, thank you for coming. Okay. Anyway, so I think we've gone on too long, so you get the message. Not that everybody can be as punctual as me. I don't expect that. But when we go into a place and, there's a fire sacrifice and nobody shows up, including the priests and the initiates, except for me, that happens.
Me and Gurudev were there.
Oh, God.
I had one initiation at Govardhan. You remember that one?
Yes, Guru.
We had an initiation at Govardhan. So we go to the Prabhupada's palace at Govardhan. Set for a certain time. We're the initiates. So 1 hour, 2 hours. How long was it? 2.5 hours.
Oh, all I could see was, I think, all I remember is you just really going red, and I'm like, where are these people?
Just waiting, I said. And what I said was, these people will never take initiation.
And we walked back.
We're going back, and they're not taking initiation. Okay, so later on, they show up at my house. Who's there? Yeah. I said, I don't want to see them. And they, who is it? Nobody says this. So we open the door, and these two boys had, a lot of hair before. So they come in, they look so cute. And my heart, you remember that?
I remember.
My heart melts. I said, all right. They're apologizing, whatever. And then I said, all right, tomorrow you better show up. Oh.
So the second day you planned.
Yeah, I was merciful.
Planning for 1 day is so hard. Doing it on the.
Yeah, second day. I was angry. I was really angry that day. So anyway, it's life in the material world, life in Krishna consciousness. All right, on that happy note, it's time for Shanti.